Hey everyone, welcome to Boss Run. I'm your host, Billy Hoosh, and today let's talk about some video games. How about that? Like I said, this newest version or season of Boss Run, I like to always start off talking about some observations with hardware, and that could span from PC hardware as well as stuff that applies to console hardware. I hope you all dusted out your equipment, your gear, your consoles, and your PCs, like I mentioned last week. Even though last week felt like spring over here in Southern Ontario, but today we got blasted with some snow, some of that wet snow that melts away, but that's okay. That's not bad. But this week I want to talk about controllers and headsets. So I'm big into controllers, like pro controllers, even though I don't consider myself like a pro FPS player or controller player on the computer and whatnot. I'm average, maybe above average. I do okay. But I still play with controller, and I prefer the controller even on the computer opposed to playing with the mouse and keyboard. Now, what's the point of a pro controller? What are pro features when it comes to game controllers? Well, one of the big, features that pro controllers have are back buttons or back paddles or whatever, depending on the patent of the manufacturer. And the whole point of having these back buttons, the buttons are mapped on the back so that you don't ever have to take your thumbs off the analog sticks that control the XY axis. So like that was traditionally the advantage to mouse and keyboard players, is because you had one hand on the mouse, that the mouse completely controlled that XY axis, and then your other hands were on the keyboard that you can do the button prompts, whether it be like jump or pick up an item or whatnot. So the advantage was that mouse and keyboard, you had complete control over movement at all times. Whereas when you were, if you had to take your right thumb off the analog stick for a moment to hit one of the buttons that are usually a button that controls being prone or jumping, or the action interact button. And that was a disadvantage. Like every second counts, especially for a first-person shooter. So having those buttons, those face buttons mapped on the back, then your thumbs never have to release the analog, go off the analog joysticks. So you're good to go, and you have that level playing field as mouse and keyboard players. So that's why a lot of people who still prefer the controller, they would get a pro controller just to have the advantage of those buttons on the back. Other advantages are some pro controllers are actually faster and more responsive than traditional controllers. Usually that only happens in the PC space, because a controller in the PC space would come with its own like dongle or what have you. Traditionally, pro console players would have to have their controller wired in and not rely on the built-in wireless, whether it's like Bluetooth or a 2.4 hertz RF connection. I think it's RF. Gigahertz connection, the same as like a cordless phone, basically. So that's the other advantage. One of like the newer advantages of pro controllers, which I like a lot, and while the Xbox Elite Series 2 controller, maybe the first one had it as well, is being able to adjust the tension of those thumbsticks. So you can, some of them, for example, well, the Xbox One, it had like a key, almost like an Allen wrench, kind of like almost like a guitar pick, where you could take off the thumb cap of the stick and then tighten the tension of the stick to your pleasing. For for the PC. So for some listeners or viewers, I'm showing this on the screen. But for some newer PC Pro controllers, they have these like rings on them where you can just adjust on the fly the stick tension, which is great. This is one of my favorite. This is my favorite controller currently for the PC. It's called. It's made by the company FlyDigi, and it's called a Vader 5 Pro. I had the Vader 5 4 Pro, and now I moved up to this one. And I love these controllers. I'll put it back on the charger as well. So it was exciting that like Xbox had their Xbox Elite Series 2. Xbox always has these awful names for their products. And that was a great controller. I would use that for my PC for the longest time. The build quality, let's just say, had a lot to be desired. It wasn't very well made. It felt good in your hand. It felt premium, but the internals, it would just like break down real quick. You got to like maintain it or just like have a warranty that you can continue giving it, like replacing the thing. And then I was excited when Sony released their DualSense Edge controller. So Sony's first party Pro controller with back buttons and replaceable thumbs, the whole module of the replaceable sticks. So a big concern. And that's another thing I forgot to mention about Pro controllers, or at least in the PC space. Traditionally, controllers, they will, if they're well used, they experience something called stick drift, where if you don't even touch the thumbsticks, the controller or the character will start drifting to one side because it's not centered anymore. It's busted. Basically, as you move around a thumbstick, the plastic little bits inside get ground down, and then it starts to experience drift. And controllers are notorious for that. It is definitely a flaw in these controllers, but it made them quite replaceable. And that's why a lot of like console controllers, they sell them with like every 4 months, there's a new color that the manufacturers will offer, and they'll sell them with like special editions because they're assuming that it's like a consumable. Basically, that's the thing that breaks, and it's like normalized that it breaks to just keep you buying a new one over and over again. But it's expensive because they're like the price of a game. Anyways, in the PC space, they moved on to Hall Effect and TMR sticks, the modules. So the modules use like electromagnetics. There's no actual like friction on plastic to have them to wear down and experience this drift. But the PlayStation's Dual Edge, so PlayStation's Pro controller, has these removable modules that you can just like press a thing down and then pop out the whole stick module and then replace it. And you could buy the replacements for like around $20 per stick, which is still expensive, but at least you're not replacing like a $250 controller. So I got a DualSense Edge when they first came out, and it did feel premium. The one thing I didn't like about it immediately was that already with like the Xbox Pro controller, I was used to having 4 back buttons, which match the 4 that correspond to the 4 face buttons. So you can map all the face buttons on the controller to the back. And that was the norm. However, the DualSense Edge controller, it only has 2. And I figure it only has 2 because that's the only way it would be able to sit on the charging base, the official Sony charging base that also you can put your regular DualSense controllers on it. So my guess was the design choice was for that. And like most FPS players, they just want to have like 1 button's for crouching, 1 button's for jumping, and that's usually suffice. But I'm already used to 4, so that was kind of a bummer. Before the DualSense Edge, there are like other manufacturers that make Sony Pro controllers. A big one is a company called Scuff. They were like the oldest of these pro controller manufacturers, and they held patents to the lever back buttons. I still have my SCUF controller that I bought before the DualSense Edge ever came out, right at the launch of the PlayStation. And I prefer that for two reasons. Well, the first reason is obviously it has all four back buttons that the Edge doesn't have. The Edge does feel way more premium to the touch than the original DualSense controller, like the stock one, and my SCUF. However, another big thing, and this is why I kind of am disappointed, and a lot of people were disappointed in the DualSense Edge, is the DualSense Edge Pro controller has a smaller battery than the stock PlayStation 5 DualSense controller. And you really feel the difference. Like it runs out of battery real quick. I mean, granted, I put my controller on a charging cradle when it's not done, when I'm done playing with it. So it's always is charged. But like if I play more than like 2-3 hours, yeah, the battery starts like to dip. And like you can't get to 4 hours, at least on my DualSense Edge. And yeah, it wasn't a huge deal. I dealt with it for a couple of years because I have a charging cradle, so it's no big deal. And usually on the PlayStation, I'm playing single player exclusive games on the PlayStation. And those types of games I usually play for like 1 or 2 hours. And honestly, those games, I don't really need my Pro controller. I usually use like the stock DualSense controller. The Pro controllers are mainly for playing competitive online games. But usually competitive online games, those are games that I end up playing a little bit longer because of the casino tactics that they put in the game to keep me playing. So I really felt it with that. Now, the other reason, the recent reason I'm kind of disappointed with the DualSense Edge's battery life has to do with the fact that I stopped gaming or using headsets because I find that when I play wearing or just wear a headset longer than 30 minutes or up like an hour or more, I get these horrible headaches. And that has to do with my glasses. The legs to the glasses, I guess, get pushed in by the headphones. That's why, like, even now, if you're watching the video version of this, I used to wear my Sony headphones with these, but I noticed that I would just get headaches wearing them. So now I wear IEMs, inner ear monitors, which are comfortable and they're less noticeable. So I started using those with the PC for the longest time, and I find that I can just wear these as long as I want and they feel better. And I actually can hear like footsteps in games and stuff a lot better. IEMs are pretty high quality because they're in inner ear, right? They're right down in your ear drum. So you can really hear what's going on in the world. But the main thing is comfort. So I started to play Marathon on my PlayStation. The game is good enough, and we'll get into this, that I double dipped on copies of it. I first had it on the PC. It looks amazing and it runs amazing on the PC, but I also wanted to play it on my PlayStation, which I keep in my bedroom sometimes at night, right? So a friend hooked me up with like a discounted code for the PlayStation versions. Shout out to Nathan. Thank you, Nathan. And I've been playing it on my PlayStation. On my PlayStation, I have like the PlayStation Pulse 3D headphones, the headsets that are wireless, and they're nice headsets. They sound good. But then again, I'm still getting the issues that I get those like awful headaches once I play for an hour. And I'm like, oh no. So I did have an extra pair of inner ear monitors upstairs. So I'm like, well, why not? I can use those with the controller. I can just plug them into the controllers all have these like little phone jacks, right? So I plugged it into that and it worked fine, great. But I'm using my DualSense Edge, and my guess is that it uses more battery because the audio is being like streamed to the controller, and it would murder the battery on the DualSense Edge. So that was awful. Also, there was no like using the, this is like, I didn't understand why PlayStation did this, but they have like a mic built into the controller as well. So you can use the mic, but it's terrible quality. And whenever someone in game uses the mic, you really can notice it and you end up muting them because it's picking up all the sounds and it's also giving an echo of the TV and of your voice. It's just, it's honestly, it feels like this. They thought this was like for the generation of people that those degenerates that like use their phones in public with speakerphone or something like that. I don't know what that awful trend is, but it's in that controller. And I'm like, why would anyone use that? So I just got the cord that has a built-in mic for my IEMs, and they sound great and they work great. But now I have to use the SCUF controller. I know, first world problems, instead of the DualSense Edge because it just murders the battery. You'd think people care more about folks wearing glasses, especially in the gaming space. Like my buddy Evan said he's surprised that they didn't make headphones that have like little cutouts at the side that take the pressure off of like the temples or whatever. Maybe they do, but I think it's still with, they push my ears in and then my ears are pushing in on the arms of the glasses that are behind. The other thing that's important with headphones is mic monitoring. So being able to slightly hear your own voice without a delay is great because then you can hear whether or not you're like speaking too loud or people can hear you or what have you. So like these, the reason why I wear these is because of mic monitoring. Like while you're filming a podcast or if you've watched podcaster or video podcasters, they're all wearing headphones so they can clearly hear what's going on in the live mix. I did notice that the PlayStation headphones have mic monitoring. They call it side tone in the video game world. And it's only available for like premium headphones. If you plug in your earbuds or what have you, or your headphones into the PlayStation controller, you can't add mic monitoring or side tone. I'm guessing it's like a bandwidth limitation because you're streaming audio to your controller. So I'm guessing it's something to do with that. So I then can't hear my own voice and it gives this like weird feeling when I'm talking. Like I think even Bluetooth headphones have that side tone or mic monitoring. So it just like, you feel less disorientated when you can hear your own voice when you're talking. So that's the other downside to that. But I sorted everything out by using IEMs, and now I am an official corded IEM game player. I don't use headsets anymore. So that is that. So if anyone has issues wearing glasses and they get headaches when they play games, it could be your eyes, but it's probably not your eyes if your prescription is good. It's because the headset is pushing the arms of your glasses into your head, and maybe you should just wear some cheap earbuds and you'll be good to go. Okay, well, getting into games. Not much going on in the game space right now. I am anticipating Crimson Desert that comes out next week. I believe it comes out Thursday or Friday this upcoming week. Really looking forward to that. That's that game created by Pearl Abyss, which is a South Korean company, and it looks fantastic. It's a new IP. It just looks something fresh that I can't wait to play. I pre-ordered it on Steam. There are like some early impressions of it on the internet right now. The reviews don't come out until a day before it comes out, but a lot of people have been hands-on with this game, so I'm pretty confident it's not going to be a total dud. The only controversy that came out recently, and there's always like, I think people are just like, this is too good to be true. They're waiting for that like, gotcha moment of it. Recently it came out that the game has the PC, the Steam version of the game has de novo copy protection software on it. And there's like a lot of people that are angry and don't like de novo copy protection. It's just like some software that runs in the background so that you can't pirate the game. And they usually have this in PC games, usually like the first 6 months at least, because that's usually where they get the most sales, just so no one cracks the game and puts it on the internet and people torrent it and play it for free and all this kind of stuff. But the main complaint, the complaint that people that are maybe not pirates that are upset that they can't pirate the game day one is they claim that de novo degrades the performance of the game because it's running something in the background and it's like, it's more calls on your PC or what have you. It takes up PC resources or something like that, which is interesting that people are like really upset about Crimson Desert about this because Resident Evil Requiem, which is well regarded and the PC performance of it is absolutely phenomenal, that has de novo in it. No one really cared. I love the game. It ran great on my computer. Dragon Quest 7 Reimagine had de novo on it. Ran fine. I played it on my Steam Deck, played through the entire game, like 80 hours of it. I had no issue. So it's just interesting. I think it's that like selective outrage. It's the Reddit echo chamber effect of it, but I'm still really looking forward to playing this game. Crimson Desert. So I'll have a lot to talk about next week's podcast about my impressions of that game, as I'll probably at that point have played it for maybe 3 days. So I should have some early game impressions to it next week. But right now, these days, I'm playing games online. It's been like a double XP long weekend for Call of Duty, and I'll be honest, I think this is going to be the last season of Call of Duty that I'll be playing. Just because I did get the battle pass for this season. I usually do, because like I bought the first battle pass in 2019. And since then I always completed the battle passes I got, which would just give you your what are they called? Call of Duty points back that you could always buy another battle pass and it would give you a little extra back for it too. So this is realistically probably the last battle pass that I'll play through and complete. I believe there's like 18 or 17 days left on it. So I'm going to that's why a lot of my friends are surprised I'm still playing this year's Call of Duty. But, well, actually, I guess it's last year's Call of Duty. New ones come out in November. I'm going to still play it just to finish the battle pass, but a lot of my attention has switched to playing Marathon. Like I said, I've double dipped on Marathon, and I am enjoying the game quite a bit. It's probably the longest I've played an extraction shooter. I love the style. I love the music. I love the guns and the whole atmosphere of it. It is a fun game. It is brutal, but it kind of... like the big thing about like extraction shooters is that you get this sense of gear fear. You don't want to use the gear that you've accumulated from runs that you've successfully exfilled from. So you hold on to those and you keep using the free loadouts, and then it's just no point. You're like hoarding. In this game, I think it's because you run out of space real quick for your gear. And you can find so much new gear all the time. They keep giving you free stuff that it's not a big deal. Sometimes like I'm almost happy that I like died and lost a bunch of gear because I had too much anyways in my inventory. So this is the first game that really did remove that gear fear, which was a big objection or part like resistance of playing games like Arc Raiders or I don't even want to talk about Escape from Tarkov. I still have PTSD from playing that game. That game's brutal. So it's more lenient in that sense that you're not worried about it. Right now, the only sense of like fear or the equivalent of gear fear that's like makes you not want to do certain contracts. So you usually equip a contract, and that's like what like a quest is. A contract's like a quest of something you have, like these objectives that you have to do while you're doing a run in one of the maps. And some of the, like now the later ones are 3 or 4 steps. So it's like run to this point of the map, do this, and then run to this point of the map, do this, and then run here, and then exfil. Or a lot of them are not, you don't have to necessarily exfil because that would be even more brutal. But the brutality of maybe like doing 2 parts of the quest and then getting killed before you can complete the third one and then having to start over that contract. That's been the thing that like made me leave those to the end, leave those to like until like my friends who play the game a lot better than me, they can maybe help me out with that. So that's the only points of resistance that may be artificial. I think the more you play, the less you like worry about these kind of things. And also the game gets easier as you learn more and more is given back to you as a player through upgrades and gear that they keep trickling to you. It's just doing whatever it can to push you to play more and more. The other thing interesting about the game is the community is like really, really nice. When you are dropped in, like you are with a random group of people or crew of people, as they call it, people like talk on the microphone and they're all like really kind and help you out with your quests. And then even people who don't talk on the microphone, they at least try to communicate a lot and everyone sticks together. So far it's been like this pleasantly, like a very, surprisingly pleasant experience playing this game. Like it's pretty chill community playing Marathon, which is surprising to me from playing other games like Call of Duty. And even Arc Raiders was a mixed bag. It's almost like everyone was nice everyone was like during the betas, people were just like kill on sight. And then after that, people started to get more nice. But then because people got nice, it kind of became deceptive where like some people would get your trust and then like stab you in the back, which some people thought that was fun. I did not. I rather just be on a crew, like a team of people that you can trust. And then like, as soon as you see other teams, just like shoot on sight or just sneak around them. The game seems to be pushing you around, like trying to sneak around to get your objectives done. And then some objectives are straight up murder folk, which is fine if that's what you're doing at that moment. But overall, yeah, Marathon, it lives up to the hype. They really turned around the game from all like the feedback and complaints they got from the betas. And I think like that also shows the industry that, hey, having extensive like free betas with like closed betas as well as public betas can really like make or break your live service game. So big up on that. So those are the 2 games I've been playing, 2 multiplayer first-person shooters. Like I said, I'm looking forward to Crimson Desert. The game after that in April would be Pragmata. So that's another Capcom game. So I play. It's amazing that this year they had Resident Evil Requiem out on Capcom, and then Pragmata's coming out. I think there was Monster Hunter games as well. I've never played Monster Hunter games besides briefly on the DS, but like Crimson Desert, Pragmata is a new IP, completely new game. I remember they showed trailers of this game at the reveal of the PlayStation 5. So when was that? Like 2019, 2020, 2019? And it's finally coming out. I wasn't interested in this game when they were showing it until a few months ago. They released a demo to Pragmata. And playing the demo made me instantly want to pre-order the game, which I did. I have it pre-ordered. I don't recommend pre-ordering games unless you know exactly what you're getting into. Like it's a series that like you're a fan of the franchise and no matter what, you're going to play it. But like new games and stuff, especially if you're a console gamer, maybe not. I pre-order games on Steam all the time because you can get the CD keys for cheap. You can get them discounted on third-party websites like Fanatical or Green Man Gaming. I don't get any discount for any of this, no. But and they're all legit, but also like I pre-ordered them because those discounted codes will sell out. So like Crimson Desert, the discounted codes I saw recently, they sold out probably ever since like more and more videos came out. Like Digital Foundry posted a video where it showed that it lives up to what they were saying about like the technical capabilities of the game. Like it can run really well even on potato PCs. So like everyone just like bought the keys for like $20 cheaper. Of course you will. So it's sold out. So I'm really glad that I pre-ordered that. I pre-ordered Pragmata a long time ago, and I saw that the price went up $10. So I'm glad I did for that. Anyways, Pragmata is this weird game made by Capcom. It uses the same engine as Resident Evil Requiem, which is great because that engine looks amazing. Basically, you're like this like astronaut dude in the future. At least in the demo, all I know about the demo is you're trying to get out of this like space station that's like gone rampant with like the AI is like turned on everyone. And you have this like android girl that's like on your back or something. And she has the capability of hacking the AI bots. So it's a third person shooter essentially. But when you get into a confrontation with a robot, you hold down one of the trigger buttons and then the android, like a mini puzzle game will pop up and you have to like route. It reminds me of the Spider-Man puzzle games. You have to route where this like signal goes through this like puzzle game using the buttons, the face buttons on the controller. And then once you do that, it exposes the vulnerability of the robot that you're fighting, and then you shoot them with the thing. It from like the early previews before I played the demo, it looked complicated, and I'm like, I'm not good at these like rhythm games, so I'm like, I don't know if I could even like have like the mental be able to even play these kind of games. So when I played the demo, I'm like, no, it's actually not bad. It's not that hard, and it kind of does slow the game down in a bullet time so you can solve the puzzles, and you can even control the difficulty level of the puzzles as well. So it wasn't bad. It was really fun playing it. The controls were really like tactile and fun and stuff like that, and it looked amazing. So I was instantly sold on that. So that's going to be my game in April. Hopefully I'll get through Crimson Desert. I have basically 1 month to play Crimson Desert before Pragmata comes out. I think even if I'm not done with Crimson Desert, because I heard it's supposed to be like a very big, long game. It's like a vast open world, like an Assassin's Creed or a Breath of the Wild Zelda game. It's supposed to be massive. So we'll see how far I can get through that game before Pragmata comes out. Pragmata might be short, but we'll see. Anyways, I do have a big backlog of games ready for the summertime if no games come out. And a big one for that I have that I want to play is the Kingdom Come Delivered 2. First one I played earlier this year, I think, or through like the holidays. It was awesome. So I'm looking forward to that. But once there's a lull, other big titles that are coming out this year, it's definitely the Wolverine game that I'm looking forward to. And of course, Grand Theft Auto 6. Which I think it's going to still come out this year. A lot of folks have been playing that Pokemon game, Pokepedia, which I heard is really good. Pokemon has never really, it's not a nostalgia thing for me. I never really got into Pokemon, so that's not there, but I hear it's a really great game. So if you're into Pokemon, you can't miss with that. Well, the last thing I want to talk about, since tonight is, so the day that I'm recording this on Sunday, I think tonight is the Academy Awards for film. So I thought it'd be fun to take a look at, since recently the 22nd BAFTA Game Awards nominations have been listed. So let's look at the BAFTA noms. So the BAFTAs will take place April 17th, but the nominations have been public. So let's take a look at the BAFTAs, and then I'll wrap it up. So there's a few categories here, and I'm going to go through, maybe I'll go through all of them. I'm looking at this article that was published by the Video Games Chronicle, and it has the nominations here for the 2026 ones. It looks like, so it says Claire Obscure Expedition 33. They lead the pack with 12 nominations. They also swept the Game Awards. 12 nominations across the 17 categories. So there's 17 in there. Other games with more than 5 nominations include Dispatch. I haven't played that. That's like I think that's kind of like a choose your own adventure kind of game. And it's got like famous voices. It's got the voice of Aaron Paul from Breaking Bad. Ghost of Yotai has 8, which I enjoyed on PlayStation 5. Death Stranding 2 on the Beach has 7. I like that game a lot. And then Indiana Jones and Great Circle got 6. Yeah. Last year was a lot of bangers. This year's a lot of bangers too. It's been like pretty consistent, great games. So let's just run through this. There's a lot of games that I haven't played, so it's not going to be obviously not very fair talking about what my pick is out of them because I haven't played them all. But let's take a look. So best animation nominations: Battlefield 6, Death Stranding 2 on the Beach, Dispatch, I haven't played that one, Ghost of Yotai, Hades 2, and Hollow Knight Silk Song. So out of those, I only played Battlefield 6, Death Stranding 2, and Ghost of Yotai. I don't know. Maybe I would say Death Stranding 2 in this. I would pick Death Stranding 2 because it was a game all about traversal and like balancing like crap on your back. So animation really did have to make a difference of like how you're stepping on stuff and how the character is like adjusting their body weight with all the stuff they're carrying. So I would say best animation for that. Artistic achievement: Claire the Obscure, Death Stranding 2, Dispatch, haven't played, Ghost of Yotai, Hollow Knight, and South of Midnight. South of Midnight's a game that I think I will eventually check out. I think it was also made in Canada, despite being set in like the south of the United States. So with my limited knowledge, artistic, I would give it to Claire the Obscure for sure. Those French people, they made a cool game. Audio achievements: we have Arc Raiders, Claire the Obscure, Death Stranding 2, Dispatch, Ghost of Yotai, Indiana Jones. For audio, if this doesn't mean like soundtrack, but actual like sound effects of the world, I would give it to Arc Raiders for sure. Even though like, so Marathon, I would say has taken over Arc Raiders for extraction shooter with awesome sound. Best game: Arc Raiders, Blueprints, I haven't played that game, Claire the Obscure, Dispatch, Ghost of Yotai, Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. I don't know. I would say tie between Claire the Obscure and Arc Raiders. I don't know between those two. That's a hard one. Best British game, because the BAFTAs is British: Atomfall, I haven't played that. Excuse me. Sleeper Cell 2, haven't played that, know what it is. Mafia: The Old Country, I have played that. I wouldn't give it an award, even though it wasn't that bad, but it just wasn't that great. Monument Valley 3. Ooh, I didn't know the Monument Valley games are British. Power Wash Simulator 2. Those games are cool. And 2 Point Museum. So 2 Point Museum, the 2 Point games are made by like ex-Bullfrog players. So if you ever play Theme Hospital, these are made by the guys who made Theme Hospital. I really don't know what to say. I just not Mafia: The Old Country for that one. Best debut game: Blueprints, Claire the Obscure, Consume Me, Despolate, probably said that wrong, Dispatch, and The Midnight Walk. Claire the Obscure for sure. Evolving game, so I guess an online game that they keep updating. Fallout 76, Helldivers 2, I played that game. Hitman: World of Assassination, No Man's Sky, Vampire Survivors, Warhammer 40,000 Space Marine 2. I didn't like, after the initial release of that game, I didn't play any of the new updates to that. I don't know. I haven't played enough of those games to like even give you an opinion. So I'm not going to just like blow smoke, right? Family game: Donkey Kong Bonanza. Is this seat taken? I don't even know what that is. Lego Party, Mario Kart World, Power Wash Simulator, 2 Point Museum. I didn't know that's a family game. Donkey Kong Bonanza, hands down. Game Beyond Entertainment. I don't know what that means. That category: Game Beyond Entertainment. What does that mean? The Altars and Roger, Citizen Sleeper 2, Consume Me, Despelot, and Stalker Tomb, Heart of Chernobyl. Not even going to pretend I haven't played any of those games. Game design, Ball Pit, Blueprints, Claire the Obscure, Ghost of Yote, Hades 2, Split Fiction. I haven't played Split Fiction, but usually those 2-player couch co-op games, the design's pretty sweet, so I might even say that one. Best multiplayer game, Arc Raiders, Dune the Awakening, Elden Ring, Night Ring, Lego Party, Peak, and Split Fiction. I would say Arc Raiders should get that one. Music, easy, Claire the Obscure. I'll read the other nominees. Death Stranding 2, Dispatch, Ghost of Yote, Hollow Knight, and Indiana Jones. I would say Claire the Obscure for sure. And then Best Narrative, The Altars, Blueprints, Claire the Obscure, Death Stranding 2, Indiana Jones, and then Kingdom Come Deliverance. Those are all good games. Maybe Claire the Obscure. Intellectual property, let's see, Arc Raider. Either Arc Raiders or Claire the Obscure. Most of these, I would say between those two, Claire the Obscure or Arc Raiders. I've got 3 more. Performer in a leading role, Aaron Paul in Dispatch, Ben Starr as Verso in Claire the Obscure, Erika Ishii in Ghost of Yote. She was pretty good. Jennifer English, she's usually always good. Tom McKay, Kingdom Come, Troy Baker, Indiana Jones. Probably Troy Baker for his imitation of Harrison Ford in Indiana Jones. Performing in a supportive role, Alec Wilton Regan in Lies of P. I never played that one. Charlie Cox as Gustav in Claire the Obscure. Yep, that's the one. Jane Perry in Dead Take? I haven't even heard of that game. Jeffrey Wright in Dispatch. Kirsty Ryder in Claire the Obscure. Troy Baker in Death Stranding 2. I would definitely Gustav. Last one, technical achievement. Arc Raiders, Death Stranding, Doom the Dark Ages. Well, there we go. Ghost of Yote, Indiana Jones and the Great Circle, and Split Fiction. Indiana Jones had really good tech. It was id Tech. Death Stranding 2 was great. That's using like what was it? The Horizon Zero Dawn engine. What was that called? Decima. The Decima engine. Arc Raiders also tech. That's a hard one. Maybe Arc Raiders. Anyways, this is not until April 17th. So a long time until the BAFTAs come out, but we'll swing back once they happen and go through who are the winners of that. But anyways, I'm going to leave it at that. You guys all have a wonderful week. Thanks for joining me on Boss Run. You guys all take care of yourself and keep playing them video games. Bye.